My name is Anna Mitchell. I'm the local history librarian here at the Wayne County Public Library. Today I'm here discussing the Creative Aging Program. Would you each introduce yourselves?
Diane Lewis.
Rita Flanigan.
And Elva Graham.
Okay. Do I have permission to record this interview today?
Yes.
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 Perfect. Can you just tell me a little bit about where you're from and where you are in the community?
Well, I'm Diane Lewis. I'm from Massachusetts, but I live here in Goldsboro for 30 years, and we love it here. And it's so nice to have this offered to us.
Right.
And I'm Rita Flanigan from Goldsboro. And I am originally from West Virginia. And yes, I've lived here for a while, over 20 years.
And I'm Elva Graham. I live in Faison. I grew up in the Duplin County, Wayne County area, and I own Green Thumb Florist in downtown Goldsboro.
Okay, perfect. So for each of you, as just a general starting point, how did you each find out about creative aging? And we can start with Elva.
So I was approached by the director of the Wayne County Arts Council to teach a class for the creative aging in floral design.
Diane and I found out from a member of our garden club, word of mouth. She was telling us about how much fun she had at flower arranging. She had taken a lesson, and we're like, oh my gosh, we want to go. We want to learn this. It sounded so much fun.
So we left the garden club, and we came here to the library, and then they sent us to Elva.
And they begged to be in the class, begged to find another spot. And so I said, Christine, I'm okay with it if you're okay with it. And Christine said, okay, we'll let them in.
So how do you two know each other?
We live close by.
You just live
Yeah, we live close by. Yeah, we're neighbors.
Okay.
And we've been friends for over 20 years, so.
Sure.
Diane's very talented with crafts, and I'm not, so I try to do crafts with Diane.
Sure. I do want to ask you, Elva, so have you taught a lot of floral arranging classes in the past?
I've taught some through other avenues with other shops doing freelance work, as well as doing a few garden club presentations years ago. It's about time for me to come back, ladies. But so I was already familiar with teaching floral design classes, even though it is a challenge not knowing who's on what level.
Sure.
And so teaching to seasoned adults, I'm familiar with as well.
Sure. So you weren't going in blind or unfamiliar with the process?
No, not at all.
Does teaching older adults, does that change the way that you plan and prepare, or do you kind of teach everybody regardless of age the same way?
You kind of teach everybody regardless of age the same way. Obviously, if you were teaching teenagers or kids, it's a little bit different. But typically, I'm teaching adults of all ages, so that's they kind of all learn in the same way. Some take a little more work, some not. So it was a challenge to come up with how many classes or how many different designs I could come up with for everybody to do that was a good beginner, basic level.
Sure. So the two of you heard of this through your garden club. So is this the only class that you took with creative aging, just the floral design class?
It's the only class we took, but it's not the only class we would like to have taken.
The only class, okay,
we
so-
would have taken all of them probably.
Okay, so you're hoping for another round. Where
Oh,
you can
that would be
keep
wonderful.
going.
Because, at one point we spoke with someone who had done the photography, the editing or something, and we're looking at each other like, we want to take that too. So, yes, we would like to take all of them.
Yeah, and you obviously are interested in gardening and flowers because you were in the garden club when you left and came to creative aging. Were you experienced in any way with floral design and floral arranging like this, or were you brand new to it?
I wasn't brand new to it. I worked at a florist, but I'll tell you, you are 100% better than we were.
I
I
have to
appreciate that.
Yeah, I wasn't. Like I said, I'm not as crafty as Diane, even though she tries her best with me. But I wasn't. So I went in, but Elva made it so much fun and so easy. She would bring in these flowers and greenery and tell us a little bit about each of them. We had a certain display to make, and she'd give us tips and tricks. And it was amazing. We got to bring them home. And it was wonderful. It was just wonderful. I so
you were
enjoyed it.
amazing.
Great.
Yes,
I
you were.
appreciate that
You were.
a lot.
She was so patient with us, and she'd come around to each of us and say, "Okay, you might want to put this here," or she'd help us that way. So it worked out beautifully. We had a great time.
They were also patient with me too.
That's good. Patience all around. So it was good for you to have this program with a trained professional
Oh, yeah.
teaching you how to do
Yeah.
this. Right. Did you have any particular, from the student perspective, any particular challenges, or maybe a day that you were a little frustrated with what was going on? Can you remember any of those challenges, or were there not any because you had such a great teacher, it sounds like?
No, and I think we sort of kind of helped each other. I would look over and say, "Oh my gosh, look what she did. She, put her flowers this way or whatever." And you got ideas from each other and as with Elva too. So, yeah, it was great.
Do you have a favorite? I'll ask each of you to answer this. If you have a favorite experience or a favorite memory from your time in the class.
I loved it all.
Every second of it.
Yes, I did a bouquet before I came today.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
Yeah, and I think it gave me a little bit, I was so fearful, well, I can't arrange flowers. But then afterwards, I'm like, okay, I can do this. We made a bunny. It was
Yes, that was
adorable
very
out of
cute.
the carnations. And yeah, I'm not afraid to try any of that now. And, I'm certainly not that good. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, I can do this at home and out in the yard and stuff. So, yeah, it's
Feels a
fun.
bit
And you
empowered.
covered everything.
Yes, she did.
I mean, this straight design. I mean, people,
Yeah.
if anybody said, "Can you do that?" you'd say, "Sure, we can do that."
Yeah.
If not, we know who to go see.
Well, and that's why I started the class with name one thing you want to learn, or name one style you want to learn more about, so that way I could each week tailor the class to more about what you wanted to learn rather than what I wanted to teach. Because for the lack of sounding arrogant, and I don't mean to, I know a lot about what I do. And so I wanted to make sure that each student took away something that they wanted to learn more about, whether it was incorporating unique elements like Brussels sprouts into an arrangement.
That's right. That was so much fun.
Or how to do a centerpiece or a hand-tied bouquet, those sorts of things. 'Cause I know that we didn't really get into the hand-tied bouquet, but one of the tips that we used in our very last class, or next to the last class, is that you can use that same grid, making it in your hand as a hand-tied bouquet rather than putting it in a vase. So I wanted to make sure that each student got a little nugget of what they wanted out of the class too.
We did a wreath that's hanging on my front door now. I
Excellent.
mean, it's a summer wreath. It's beautiful. We made, remember the Oriental looking type? I took that to, we had something at church, and oh my goodness, everybody wanted to take the flower arranging. It was so different and so neat. So,
Good.
and I would never have attempted anything like that. But Elva made it easy, and the flowers we used were just beautiful. So, yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, it sounds like you certainly did. And the two of you being friends doing it together, I'm sure was also an added element
yeah.
of fun. So that kind of leads into creative aging is meant to teach you these things, but also to help you build community with people of your own age and in your own age group. In what ways did creative aging add value or meaning to your life? How do you feel like it really changed you and how you see the community?
We got to know people, different people. We knew a couple people in there, but then a couple people we learned who they were and got to talk to them. And this is funny, but I found out one of the people we took with, I had actually received a package from her for her because our addresses are so close together. Yeah. And we got to, because I asked her, and she said they had moved from that address, but at one time years ago. And I said, well, we already knew each other because I got your package and she had come down to get it. So, yeah, we got to know people and learn about them. So, yeah, it was great.
Sure. And what about you as like someone who is a business owner in the community? What did it mean to you to be able to teach?
I mean, just being able to connect with more of our seasoned, I like to call them seasoned, members of society. Sorry. Anyway.
That's safe.
That's a safe way to say it,
yeah.
right? So just being able to connect with them more and find out more about them and what they enjoy doing as well was a lot of fun. And to, pun intended, watch them blossom.
Sure.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, yeah. So, obviously, this is a program that was put on by the public library. It was very important to members of staff here that we have something for our older adults to participate in, and so a way for you to connect and get to know people. And it sounds like every conversation I've had with anybody, they just made a bunch of friends. You have
Really?
friends now.
You bump into them? I mean, because
Yeah.
Goldsboro's small.
Yeah, so and you have, you're bound to run into somebody, maybe someone who you've gotten packages for before. That's a really funny story. So how does it make you feel to know that your public library, your community library, was putting on this program for you, and what importance do you think that it has within the community?
The library is always a place wherever I have moved that I went to first. When the children were little, as I gotten older, Libby was the greatest thing invented. I use that I've read over 300 books on Libby in a good time span, but I mean it's a wonderful app. But the library is a wonderful place that offers so much. So as soon as we heard this, we're like, we want to sign up for every one of those classes. It was just really good. And the nice thing about it as well, Diane and I were talking about it, was that you had these during the day too. Because, we're older and a lot of people don't like to drive in the evening, but and we're able to do those in the day. I know Elva's working, but it was nice that, it was an activity we could do in the daytime. So, yeah.
And it also gives you a sense of connection and a sense of purpose to a degree, because you learn a new skill, you get good at that skill, and then you can kind of get involved even more in the community in different ways using that skill. So
You
it
feel
gives you a way of
comfortable
purpose
doing
and
it. Yeah,
comfortable.
I felt much more comfortable doing this than before. Yeah. And would still do it.
Sure. You said
Take another
you want
class.
to take all of the classes
That's right.
when we start back up. Well, we're very hopeful that this can continue because obviously it has added value to our community and our patrons here at the library. It's added so much to the community so far. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about the Creative Aging Program or about your experience?
Keep it up.
Keep it up.
Yes,
All right.
Definitely.
let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah,
Although
right.
I'm not going to let these two ladies take my class, the next one. I'm going to make them leave a little space for somebody else who wants to take
We're
it.
moving up to the intermediate group.
Oh, challenge accepted. Okay.
There you go.
For sure. Keep it up, and we'll look forward to seeing you in all of the rest of the classes.
Yeah, we'll
apparently.
have to take something else,
Yeah,
Just have
exactly.
something else on that night, so we'll think, oh, sorry, Elva, we can't.
Well, we would be
Under the
glad to even
photo.
help you. Just, distribute the flowers
have a
or
couple
walk
of
around
my-
and clean up. I mean, we
My
can even do
apprentices here with me this evening.
that. There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Yeah, well, we thank you so much for being a part of this program and for being some of our pilot students, really. It's the first groupings of students. So thank you so much for being a part of it and for supporting the library in this way.
Well, thank you for having it.
Absolutely.
Yep.